the center. Hook! Arch!
Right across Canada, more than 30,000 men and women are dedicating much of their lives to the service of our country. They are members of the Reserve, and because of them, Canada has been able to maintain an effective military presence to carry out its defense and peacekeeping duties. Sweeping changes are taking place within the military establishment as D&D responds to a national need for budgetary restraint. As a result, the Reserve Force is being called upon to accept an ever-enlarging role. Under our total force system, the full and part-time military are required to perform the same duties and serve side by side whenever there is a need. And with the Reserve making up some 11% of our peacekeeping force on UN missions, it's easy to see that the need extends well beyond our own borders.
With our trade equivalency with the regular force now, we can walk right into their position and do the exact same job right alongside our regular force counterparts, and we're ready to do that at any time. We're a viable entity in the military, and I think it's an economical way to maintain support for the UN deployments that we do.
You can walk into any total force location and you cannot tell the difference between a reserve and a reg force performing the job.
So reservists are constantly working beside regular Army troops all the time.
With the reduction in forces, I think the reserves are not only necessary but mandatory nowadays just to fill in the numbers.
The reserve is basically the heart of the Canadian military system now.
With the budget cuts, they're going to have to rely on reserves. There's no other way of doing it.
Like me, many reservists have full-time employment, and we depend on the cooperation of our employers to let us get away for those short periods of training that allow us to fulfill our military commitments. I know, some employers might think that we're asking a lot, but that's before they realize how the Reserve works and what it has to offer them. Keep watching, and I'll show you what I mean. The Reserve is no game. It's a serious second career that calls for us to be combat ready whenever our country needs us. Combat ready is our way of saying we are skilled enough to go anywhere, anytime, to complete whatever tasks that come our way. To be successful, we need the cooperation of our employers who provide time off for training without penalties. We need employers to form a partnership with the Reserve and in return realize some significant benefits.
The military does have a very strong system in teaching people how to become very effective in doing their job and organizing themselves so they can do their job.
And it's good for discipline, management, leadership skills.
Ready! Fire!
You can't accept failure. A job has to be done, and you'll stop at nothing to get it done.
You learn a lot of dedication, a lot of personal discipline, things that people need in life to do any job well. And if you learn that here and you can gain those skills, you'll be effective anywhere.
When I go away on finance, I come back, I have a whole bunch of new ideas that I can apply to the company.
The government's paying for a great deal of training. The employers are getting it for free.
All this stuff has to be trained.
being able to deal with people effectively and problem situations and conditions of stress are very valuable skills that are not easily picked up in university.
We function as a team, so there's a whole bunch of people who are complete strangers when they start the course, and during the duration of the course you develop basically a team spirit, which is, I think, very, very useful to corporations.
Reserve training is first-rate. Each of us learns theory and practice for a wide range of organizational, management, and planning skills. There is also great emphasis placed upon such values as discipline, loyalty, and leadership. And all these things are easily transferable to our civilian employment. It means reservists are exceptionally productive, reliable employees with particularly positive attitudes. The advantages often go farther than this. Many trades learned in the reserve relate directly to civilian employment. A substantial number of our members work in the same field at both their full and part-time careers. It's a unique situation that has direct benefits for the private sector and the military. This is the kind of added value any employer can realize by building a relationship with the reserve.
It's easy to become part of this program. If you have reservists working for you, allow them to take part in the annual training period without eating into their regular vacation time. Also, consider making up the difference between military pay and civilian pay so there's no financial hardship. And remember, occasionally, certain reservists are called upon to accept special duties for longer periods of time. They need your help to make it possible. They come back better prepared to meet your needs, and all the while, you'll be doing your bit to serve Canada.
We can get that sorted out. I don't see a big problem with it. My employer cooperates with me quite regularly. I keep him abreast of what I'm doing within the military because it's so much a part of my life. I don't necessarily brag about it, but everybody knows I'm involved. I'm kind of a sort of an anomaly. Who's this guy with that goes away on weekends? However, they understand my feelings towards it, and as long as my work is done and prepared and I can cover off the proper job and do the proper job, then for him it's not a problem.
At one point I needed to get away for an 8-week period for part of my training, and with all the proper documentation filled out, it was no problem. Got the approval and was also paid a certain portion of my basic wage to compensate for the lack of money I would have made from the military so that my family would be well taken care of during this period.
Power on. Okay, is everything neutral? When I come back to my job after the training period, I walk back into my job, no seniority problems, and just pick up where I left off, no questions asked.
I could not obtain the rank and position I have now without the cooperation of my company.
I have spent 5.5 years in the militia, and it's one of the major facets of my life.
You're always thinking of yourself as a soldier, not just as a regular person. It changes your mindset, changes your self-identity.
There's a lot of sacrifice there, there's a lot of dedication.
We come here and we work hard on the weekends.
Makes you not only a better worker, it also makes you a better citizen.
Number 1, 2. Stand ice.
My parents were immigrants. They came because they were liberated by Canadians. I feel that it's important for me as a Canadian to carry on that pride that my parents had that were instilled by Canadian soldiers when they liberated Holland in 1944.
Some of Canada's proudest military accomplishments have come from its peacekeeping activities, and today the Reserve Force plays an important role in many of our United Nations missions. It is essential humanitarian work, and hundreds of reserve members have volunteered for this duty. In a very real way, their employers are sharing in this vital commitment each time they permit special leave, allowing us to serve. Many companies are making an extra effort to establish policies that guarantee time off, maintain employee benefits and seniority, and protect jobs until reservists return from duty.
I feel really good about going to Yugoslavia. I think what we're doing there is valuable. Hopefully in some way we can help these people and maybe end their conflict a little bit earlier. and save a few lives by doing that.
I'm very excited to be a part of this. I think the peacekeeping tradition that Canada has built up over the last 25 to 30 years is an incredible tradition. It's very exciting for me personally to be involved in it.
About 2 years ago, my regiment, they sent 20 people to Cyprus. They worked with the regular force, and it worked out really well.
And most of the people that I'm here with in the reserves get their name on the UN deployment list as soon as we know there's something coming up. Not all of us get called, but the opportunity is always still there.
There's a large amount of reserves in Bosnia as we speak. These are people that have taken leave of absence from their employers to do that 9-month or 6-month posting. It's very important because you're trained as a soldier, and even though it's your secondary career, you're doing something good not only for your country, but you're doing something good for other people in other countries.
What position do you know what he's doing? Absolutely. The Reserve is a win-win kind of organization. It is critical to Canada, a practical, cost-effective military solution ideally suited to present-day conditions at home and abroad. At the same time, employers benefit from motivated, disciplined, skilled personnel that have been specially trained for them at no cost. Let us share these people for a while every year, and you'll gain the enhanced productivity that only military training can offer. It's good for you, it's good for our country.